Welcome to the lesson using Voucher Build for Marketplace e-invoices. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to identify which Georgia First Marketplace suppliers send e-invoices, identify how vouchers are created from e-invoices, identify the batch job that populates the voucher build staging tables, detail the two sub-processes that make up the voucher build process, run voucher build for e-invoices, identify the types of errors that can occur from the voucher build process, and review and correct voucher build errors. Some Georgia First Marketplace suppliers send their invoices electronically. Some continue to send their invoices the old-fashioned way, which is how they sent them to you in the past. You use the voucher build to build vouchers for those that send electronic invoices or e-invoices. You can review the voucher staging tables to see when they are populated with e-invoice information. In order for Georgia First Marketplace suppliers to send e-invoices, Jagger, or the company that manages the Georgia First Marketplace, will run a batch job. This Jagger batch job produces invoice information that gets populated into PeopleSoft voucher staging tables. These are the same staging tables currently used by Banner and Voucher Upload. This information will also include the PO information. A list of the actual PeopleSoft staging tables are provided on this screen. There are very few differences between running voucher build for the Georgia First Marketplace e-invoices and running other voucher build instances. A new source of catalog has been added for Georgia First Marketplace voucher build. The voucher line and distribution will be built from the purchase order. You will continue to run voucher build on an ad hoc basis. It will not become a scheduled batch job. Typically, institutions run voucher build once or twice a day. You will need to review and resolve any voucher build exceptions after each run to allow further processing of the vouchers. There are two sub-processes that make up the voucher build app engine process: the pre-edit sub-process and the voucher edit sub-process. The pre-edit sub-process builds skeleton voucher record sets from limited information. Once the pre-edit sub-process builds voucher record sets successfully, it calls on the voucher edit sub-process to complete these record sets. After running the voucher build process, you can see if any errors were generated. The voucher build process can result in pre-edit errors, which are stored in the quick invoice tables, or it can result in vouchers in a recycle status, which are stored in the online tables. Pre-edit errors prohibit the transaction from being processed by voucher edit processing. For example, if the transaction has an invalid supplier ID, the voucher edit sub-process cannot process default values correctly because supplier ID is part of the payables control hierarchy. The following general conditions result in pre-edit errors: invalid business unit, invalid supplier, no default location for supplier, blank invoice ID, blank invoice date, invalid supplier location, invalid supplier address, invalid voucher origin, no association of PO or receiver lines with voucher lines and distribution information is absent, and no voucher line information. Vouchers with pre-edit errors pass to the voucher edit sub-process. The voucher edit sub-process marks any vouchers that fail its edits as recycled. The edits performed by the voucher edit process are essentially the same as those performed by the voucher component. Any voucher validations that are set up to pass and provide a warning during online voucher entry, such as duplicate invoice checking, pass the voucher edit process without warning. After running voucher build, review the vouchers that have errors. Vouchers with pre-edit errors are corrected on the quick invoice page. Vouchers in recycled status are corrected on the voucher page. When correcting pre-edit errors, you may need to correct something other than the actual quick invoice page the system sends to you. For example, if the error was a supplier location error, you may need to update the supplier location in the supplier pages instead of correcting the quick invoice page. You will have to determine the best way to correct the errors. After you have corrected the pre-edit errors, you will need to rerun the voucher build process. When doing this, it's most efficient to run the process on the individually affected vouchers. The voucher sources selection should be set to errors staged vouchers. In the selection parameters area, you can add as many vouchers in error as necessary by adding additional rows. If you have a voucher in recycle status, the system will take you directly to the online voucher page. You can then correct the errors directly on the voucher and then save your changes. You will not have to rerun voucher build on these vouchers since the online edits in the system will change the status from recycled to postable when you save it. Now let's walk through the process of running voucher build. To get to the Requisition Reconciliation Workbench, first select Accounts Payable. In the menu, select Batch Processes. Then select Vouchers. Then choose Voucher Build. For this lesson, we are going to add a new Run Control ID, so we'll select the Add a New Value tab. We'll enter CAT _ EINV _ VCHR _ BLD and click Add. We'll make the request ID 1. For the description, we'll enter Voucher Build for e-invoices. If you are running for a particular date range, you can include it. We are going to run it for the last 2 weeks, so we'll enter January 1st through January 12th. We're going to leave the Assign Invoice ID selection checked. This means that the voucher build process will assign an invoice ID for those that do not have one. The process will assign the voucher ID as the invoice ID. We're also going to leave the Assign Invoice Date selection checked, since we want the voucher build process to assign the current date as the invoice date to the voucher build from sources that have no invoice date. For Process option, we're going to choose the business unit. For voucher sources, we are going to leave New Voucher Data selected since we're building new vouchers. Then we need to enter our business unit in the Selection Parameters field. I'll enter 40,000 since that's what we're using today. Now let's look at the Interfaces section. This is where we are going to specify that we are using this voucher build process for the Georgia First Marketplace e-invoices. We'll select the Voucher Build Interfaces drop-down list and select Catalog. Then we'll select Published Voucher Messages. Now we can run the process. We'll click Run to initiate the process. And we'll click OK. We'll select the Process Monitor link so that we can see how the process is progressing. We are looking for the AP Voucher Build process to have a run status of success and a distribution status of posted. Now that the process is complete, we'll select the Details link, and then we'll select View Log Trace. Here we can see that the voucher build process ended normally. We'll click Return, and we'll click OK. We'll select the Go Back to Voucher Build Request link. Here we'll choose the Build Errors tab. If you have any errors listed on this tab, you will need to resolve them before processing any of the vouchers from this process. Remember, if there are errors, the Correct Errors link will appear on this page and take you to the appropriate place to correct them. Once the vouchers are built and error-free, you can process them as you normally would, including matching, document tolerance checking, budget checking, and posting. This concludes this lesson on using Voucher Build for Marketplace e-invoices. You should now be able to identify which Georgia First Marketplace suppliers send e-invoices, identify how vouchers are created from e-invoices, identify the batch job that populates the voucher build staging tables, detail the 2 sub-processes that make up the voucher build process, Run voucher build for e-invoices, identify the types of errors that can occur from the voucher build process, and review and correct voucher build errors. Return to the ePro Georgia First Marketplace training page to access additional lessons. If you have further questions, please contact the ITS Help Desk at helpdesk@usg.edu. Thank you for attending.